is Trinity Comendador, and I'm from Mr. Hamlin's class. My years here at Bryn Mawr were probably the best years of my life. I met so many great friends, teachers, and staff, and created so many memories. My first year here was for first grade. I was in Miss Cardozo's class. I was 6 and was excited about meeting other kids. My reading level was at a 5th grade level. My mom says I never cried about leaving her and my dad for school. I was a brave little smiling girl who adored her twinkle toe Skechers. It made me feel twinkly. I supposedly cried about leaving school. Can you even imagine that? In first grade, I met some of my best friends that I have today, Clarice, Rachel O, and Katie. I moved to a combo class in first grade. This meant I was going to be mixed in with 2nd graders. I wasn't terrified, but I do admit that I was nervous. I walked into Miss Gill's class with a bright smile and a ready face. I didn't expect to see all the kids' heads turn when Johnny, Keone, Rachel, Katie, and I walked in happily. I was like, whoa, are those big kid scissors? And no way, lead pencils? I officially decided I was going to love it here. Being in a combo class was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because this meant I was allowed to play on the monkey bars playground, which was for 2nd graders and above only. I remember when all the other 1st graders were like, hey, you can't be there, that's for 2nd graders only. We said that Miss Gill said we could, and the art duties did too. It was pretty great. Next came 3rd grade. I didn't get placed into a combo class, but that wasn't a big deal. I was now 7 and was very excited to be with my first ever male teacher, Mr. Hughes. Since he was a guy, I was super duper excited to see if he was stern and strict or nice and funny. He was nice and more than funny. He was hilarious. I met a few other amazing friends here like Janelle, both of them, Erica, and Izzy. 3rd grade was my hardest grade so far. Why? Because our easy peasy math curriculum had changed to the not easy peasy math curriculum. I started getting lower and lower grades in math until I got the worst grade possible. My table friends wouldn't even let me see my paper when I got to class in the morning because they knew I was an overachiever. My heart sunk when I learned what I got on that cursed math test. That night, the grade made my mom so worried and sad. It made me sad too, so I was determined to not let this Singapore math thing get me down and was able to bring my math grades back up to where they were before. Then the school year ended, and I was delighted. Oh yeah, 3rd grade was also the grade that I started not enjoying school. Pretty ironic, considering I had a cool teacher that year. Ah yes, 4th grade. This was my next year in a combo class, this time with 5th graders. My teacher was Miss Daly. Here I met Lowton, Layla Hernandez, and Layla Hernandez Jensen. And oh my gosh, can I just say, 4th grade went by in a flash. 4th grade for me was full of that dabbing stuff, with lots of games and laughs. 4th grade was also when my reading levels skyrocketed. I went from being a 3rd grader who read like a 6th grader to a 4th grader who read like a senior in high school. When Miss Daly said my reading grade aloud as she made level cards for us, I ecstatically yelled for joy inside. I read higher than all the other students in my class. Miss Daly was so nice and sweet. She told us jokes at the end of the day and we played Go Noodle. By now, Mr. Hamlin is probably itching for comments about himself, so why not say it now? Mr. Hamlin was a great guy who hated corny jokes and amusingly watched when Aiden, Benson, Sean, and Alex tried to shoot pieces of white paper into the recycling bin and miss. On a side note, when the class started noticing what they were doing, most of us would cheer them on, and Mr. Hamlin would kindly tell us to shut our mouths. He'd say something like this: hey, if you guys don't be quiet, none of you are going to Fiesta Village. He'd point a finger at the words, none of you. That was scary enough, so we quieted down and were sad that we couldn't watch any more paper basketball games, which were probably the most entertaining thing that happened when we had free time. Anyway, Mr. Hamlin is going to be one of my favorite teachers because he was serious and kind of funny at the same time. And so that brings me here. I am now 11 going on to Cope Middle School. I thank God for allowing me to be here, being a bright girl who soaks up information like a sponge. I want to thank my teachers next for making such an impact on my life and teaching me new things every day. Thank you staff like Mr. Lexak and Miss Ava. Thank you PTA for giving us field trips to go on and encouraging us to raise money for fundraisers. Thank you parents for shaping us into the young people we are now. Without you, we are nothing, literally. Thanks for helping us on homework, bringing us to school, and dedicating a part of your life to be spending time with us. You're there every step of the way. Thank you for sacrificing everything else. It means the world. And lastly, I want to thank all my friends and peers. for making my life more interesting than I asked for. Even though we're all going to face hard times in our education, I want everyone to persevere through everything with a strong-willed spirit. Thank you for listening to my speech.